design's way more than taking a pencil and making a shape. It's all the other stuff that actually makes the design process. And so much of it's to do with thinking before you put the mark on the paper and understanding what the parameters are that you need to be sketching around, rather than just, letting rip on a fresh sheet.
And the thing about furniture in particular is that people think, well, okay, furniture is furniture. What can you do that's new? And that always kind of annoys me. It's a bit like saying there's nothing new under the sun. Of course there's new. The hardest thing is actually trying to work out what that is. And you just cannot do it by just assuming that it's just going to come to you.
And designing a chair means to think about what happens if people have to spend most of their professional life sitting on a chair. And then, and there you find the answers to your questions.
We met at the Royal College of Art in 1990 and 91, and it became clear that this early sort of conversation and journey was developing into something maybe more meaningful, and we decided to set up a partnership together. Both of us were interested in the idea that design comes about through communication, not just having some personal whim. Design is about providing some kind of a service.
We've always wanted to help brands express their DNA first, rather than our DNA. Some designers want to sort of plant their aesthetic onto whoever they're working with. We enjoy the other way around. We've always been very interested in the principle of a client being an important part of the design process, so that the brief is a sort of anchor for the whole experience. So we've very rarely done work that's sort of speculative in the studio and then tried to sell it, because we think the relationship between us and the manufacturer, and as Luke says, whether it's the engineer, the client, where their factory is, what nationality they are, all those things that make the kind of the foundations of the work that we produce.
We don't like the idea that we've got any given style. We're much more interested in the project brief, the relationships and things, defining a certain kind of process that we work through. I think certain things probably hang together. We're interested in the idea of things being rational, sensible, sort of harmonious, efficient, and more we're taking on board considerations like what the TCO, total cost of ownership, will be, and that needs to be seen in a very holistic sense. So all these concerns kind of get fed into the project, and all those things create an influence on what the form will be.
There's a balance there. Hopefully things that are efficient are also beautiful, so that in each individual case it's a beautiful object, but it works across multiple spaces. So that sense of kind of interrogating the use of the object hopefully then allows us to create a beautiful object at the same time.
Gleichzeitig auch die Querstabilität.
Man setzt den Motor direkt da dran.
Yeah. We are not stylists. We are not starting with the shape and aesthetics, For me, design is always an honest design when it has a background, when the form follows the function, and then I think the aesthetic, the shape of the chair, it's the essence of it. It automatically happens that way, but it's not driven by styling in the beginning. It's driven by by the function. We first have the conceptual idea, and then we select materials, like as we did on Agitus. When we started with Agitus, we were looking, how to create a profile which adapts to the profile of the human body, and we have created a kind of backrest bar, which reflects to the natural movement of the human spine. All parts on a chair, such as the armrest, the base, the headrest, are all integral parts of the chair concept. And, it speaks its own language. Agitus is state-of-the-art in the use of material, in the use of ergonomics, and even in design. Because we started with the function, and then the shape is the essence of all this thinking process. And that for me, is a very honest design, and that's the way how we are working.
If you listen to people and you take what they can offer, you can end up with a much, much better product. And this has happened time and time again. For example, on a product that I've designed, we were struggling terrifically with how to actually overcome a structural problem. And there's a group of us all sitting around, and we did that. We overcame that problem together. There was an engineer there was a purchasing specialist there was someone from manufacturing, someone from marketing, and I couldn't honestly tell you who actually came up with the final solution to the problem. But in that meeting, we solved it. By standing on your own, sitting in a little room, isolated from everyone else, it's much, much harder to find that spark, find that angle, find that way of actually approaching something in a new way. And that's fundamental, I think, to actually inventing something new in design. And so in the end, design is a collaborative effort. It's a collaboration of all your ideas that you've had before and all the people that you get to meet whilst you're actually working on the project. So the process that we went through with Senator was very good in that it allowed us to innovate and actually create something that is quite unique. They're unusual in that they have a real commitment to design. And they are also incredibly enthusiastic about it, which is great.
Senator is design driven, and they do have a culture behind. So that's, I really enjoy working with Senator.
When Senator approached us probably 10 years ago, it was interesting because clearly there was a company that was prepared to put their money, into the project investment and have a go. There wasn't any fear of investing. And that, as a designer, is very interesting. It's obviously where you get your potential exciting projects from.